TK Solver Tutorial Introduction to the TK Solver Interface. When you start TK Solver, this is what you see. TK Solver displays several tabs. Each tab can be thought of as an individual worksheet. We are going to start on the tab named Rules. You can enter various equations on the Rules worksheet. In this sample, let's use an equation used to determine volume. Next, let's move over to the tab named Variables. Notice how the variables you just typed on the Rules tab are now showing on the Variables tab, but with columns for input and output values. Let's enter some sample values into the input variables for volume, length, and width. Notice how we did not put any values into the input for height. We are now going to use TK Solver to solve for height using the numbers we entered into the cells on the input column. You can find the light bulb icon for direct solve in the Solver tab of the ribbon menu. Click on the light bulb icon to solve the equation for the unknown variable, or height, in this situation. If your equation has just one unknown and the unknown appears only once in the equation, TK Solver solves it regardless of where the unknown appears in the equation. Of course, TK Solver can handle more complex situations involving simultaneous equations, and TK Solver can do a lot more than just solve equations. Before we show you more features, we want to acquaint you with more of TK Solver's well-organized interface. In the View tab of the ribbon menu, let's get rid of some screen clutter so you can better see what we are doing in this example. Let's hide the Sheet Explorer, the Wizards Explorer, and the Applications Explorer. Now, let's add another equation into this demonstration by clicking on the Rules tab. We will move this tab over to the right side of the grouping of tabbed worksheets, and then click on the Variables tab before we continue. As an equation is entered, the TK Solver interface goes into Edit mode. Notice how most of the icons are grayed out and the colored highlight is replaced by a blinking cursor. When the equation is entered, TK Solver reports that its status is unsatisfied and the icons are reactivated. At the bottom of the screen is the TK Solver Statusbar. Function key 9 on your keyboard, also known as the F9 key, can be used to ask TK Solver to solve the equations if you prefer not to click on the light bulb icon. Notice how the solution indicator updates from F9 to OK when your model is solved. The Variable tab is organized into 6 resizable columns. Inputs are entered into the Input column, and when TK Solver solves the equations, the results appear in the Output column. The variable names are transferred directly from the Rules tab. Units and comments are optional. The Status column has many uses, as you will soon see. If we enter an input value for height and solve again, TK Solver reports an error and the Status column displays symbols next to those variables involved in the error condition. TK Solver found that the first rule contained inconsistent information. We must remove one of the input values on the variables worksheet. An easy way to do that is to press the spacebar to blank the value and then press Enter. Now both equations have just one unknown and can be solved. TK Solver can also use iteration to solve simultaneous equations. If we enter an input area and blank the input for length, TK Solver now sees 2 equations, each with 2 unknowns. Neither equation can be solved on its own in this situation. We can supply a guess for one of the unknowns to trigger an iterative solution. If we enter a value for length, say 4, this would cause an inconsistent condition. So we tell TK Solver that length is a guess and not an input by changing its status to guess. This is done by typing a G in the status column. When we solve, TK Solver tries the guess value, solves the first equation using the guessed value, and then detects an inconsistency in the second equation. TK Solver then iteratively tries new guess values until the inconsistency becomes essentially 0. It all happens very quickly. Before we move forward to the next topic, we should save our work. Like other Windows programs, this is done by selecting Save from the main menu. Let's name this file Tutorial 1. Thank you for learning about TK Solver. For more information about TK Solver and other UTS products, please visit us on the internet at www.uts.com. If you're interested in putting your TK Solver calculations out on the internet for people to see, please visit calcedge.com.